So here we are in December 2020, and it's been a few months now since we planted out this area up here and along a little bit further with wallaby grass and Lomandra longifolia. So it's been a really good season for growth. We've had high rainfall. It's been excellent, and so we've had 100% success rate in terms of the take or the growth from the planted seedlings of the Lomandra longifolia and the wallaby grass, the Joycea pallida. And so that's really excellent, really happy with that. I also had some spare or excess Microcereus lanceolata, a yam daisy, which were native to this area. I haven't seen any on the property naturally. However, I thought I'd try and plant some out in here as well just to see how they went. So I planted out 10 of those this year, and a couple of those haven't made it, but probably about 7 or 8 out of the 10 that we planted out are still alive, which is pretty good, I reckon. More successful than I thought it might be. They were only very small seedlings when I planted them out. The yam daisies are palatable, so they've been eaten back within the gardens, wherever they can be reached by, I'm guessing, probably rabbits, maybe kangaroos and wallabies as well. There is certainly some trimming of some of the wallaby grass, which we can see, but because there's good growth from this season, there's other things to pick at. So there is some really good growth. I do have all of the plants that we planted still in guards at the moment. The guards that I've used are cut off 2-litre milk containers generally, or the occasional juice or soft drink container as well, with some bamboo stakes. I'm planning to actually remove the guards from all of the wallaby grass so that we can use those guards again next year for the next planting that we do, collect all the bamboo stakes. I'll probably leave guards around the yam daisies for the moment, just for some protection. And I didn't bother putting protection around the Lomandras because they're a nice hardy plant, and the seedlings that I got were actually really quite stocky and in good shape. And so I didn't feel that I needed to, and the results are that they haven't needed to have guards on them, so that was really good. In this area we can see, I'll take you for a closer look, but we can see that we've put some straw down along with some timber that is from the surrounding bushland, just to try and slow the water down, to create a nicer environment to get that water into the ground. This area in particular here was quite bare, but very happy with the season, very happy with the growth that we've had, and so that's really wonderful. Now the nest boxes, in terms of monitoring, there've been some challenges. I do have a wildlife cam that I put out, but because they're up in trees and they're up at the top of a hill, you get the slightest movement in the trees from the wind, and you just get pictures of trees in the wind basically from the wildlife cam. So I had, after thousands of photos of no wildlife but plant leaves and trees moving in the wind, I thought, okay, that's not really working very well for me in terms of a monitoring method. I could still do my casual walks to monitor, and I did, and could see some interest at one point around at least one of the trees. But what I've done is I've went and got a bore scope or an endoscope with a very long lead, and it's got a Wi-Fi connection that I can connect to my phone. So I can then put that up on a boom pole, which I use for a microphone for location sound for film and video stuff. And it's a really long reaching pole. It's over 5 meters long, and I can just reach that up. I can look inside the nest box with this camera on the end of the pole, which is really excellent. And they've been really successful in checking these nest boxes, the cockatoo nest boxes made out of the pipe, because they're actually quite light inside. I haven't needed to light the area or turn on the little lights on the camera because the opening is quite large on the nest boxes and they're white inside, so it's quite reflective. So they're, in terms of being intrusive, there could be an animal sleeping in there and I could probably sneak my camera in without it even noticing, because I'm not really changing the light, and as long as I'm quiet and don't knock around too much on the nest box, then they probably won't even notice that I'm there, which is really fantastic, because that's always a concern about how we might be affecting the wildlife that might be using these nest boxes. Of the 3 nest boxes, only one has clear evidence of an animal being in there at the moment. 2 of the nest boxes just have the pine chips still looking pretty much how they were. One of the nest boxes has some fresh leaves and bark, And looking at the shape, the way that things are configured in there, I'd suspect that it's possibly being used by a ringtail possum. That's just a speculation on my behalf at the moment, but it's kind of got that kind of vibe. And there is some fresh kind of leaves in there too, which makes me think that it's been used pretty recently, but there was nothing in there when I had a look today during the day. So nothing sleeping in there at the moment. So probably being used occasionally by possums is my current thinking. And I'll try and monitor that and keep an eye on that. But at least one of them is being used by something. And I suspect for the cockatoos that will possibly, because they'd probably be looking to start their nesting around a similar time that I actually got the nest boxes up this year. So we're hopefully next year, when they've been there a bit longer, they can check them out, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more action in terms of birds in the nest boxes in future years.